Well, there we have it, guys. Fiji getting the first victory over England ever. Who saw this one coming? I certainly didn't. The game is just finished. We're going to be going over some of my full-time thoughts and giving my reaction to it. Now, I missed the Springboks All Blacks game last night. I wasn't able to catch it on TV, and I thought after seeing the result of that one, I thought, man, I've missed out on probably what's going to end up being the biggest result of the weekend. Maybe not, because Fiji taking this one 30 points to 22, and you have to say, look good doing it all the way through. I thought Fiji had, there's still things to work on for Fiji. There's still areas to improve on. But when you talk about, the tier 2 teams going up against the tier 1 teams, this is right up there with Georgia beating Wales, all right, last November. This is a superb victory for Fiji. And going into that World Cup, oh man, as a Wales supporter myself, I'm terrified of seeing that Fiji-Wales game now, because Fiji have got no reason anymore to think you can't get into the quarterfinals. They may even have a quarterfinals game against England, and in which case they could be looking at a semi-finals. Fiji are on fire at the minute. England, unfortunately not. Going into this one, we said in the preview video, they need the performance, they need the win, they need to cement everything together just before the World Cup. And it didn't do really any of it along the way. The opening 10 went England's way. They had a clear set-out game plan. They were going through hard carries, Tuilagi and Ollie Lawrence smashing their way through. George Ford kicking over the top, pinning Fiji back in their own 22. Felt like they had complete control of the game, and I thought, here we go. This is what England wanted to bring. This is going to be the full 80 minutes. Fiji aren't even going to get a look in this one. Johnny May scored his try. Nice for him to get back into this England team and leave this game with a try. The first try from a back in 6 hours of gameplay from England over these World Cup warm-ups. That's a terrifying stat for them. But you have to say, after that, 15, 20-minute marker, there wasn't really a lot to talk about in terms of England. We mentioned Tuilagi and Ollie Lawrence. I think after that opening 20, I might have heard their names once or twice right up to the end of the game. Real shame that they didn't keep with that game plan. It felt like the game got away from them. Fiji, though, wow, very, very impressive with what they brought to this one. Such a different style. They didn't just go through the one-off runners this time. There was a lot more game mechanics going their way. Their defence in their own 22 was brilliant. The way they were defending the maul was much better. Their organisation to get out of their own 22, their exit strategy felt very professional, very organised. Everyone knew what they were doing. They actually went in down at halftime. England were up 8 points to 3 at halftime through, you would argue maybe a little bit lucky, because Fiji did get over for a try right before the end of that first half and had their try disallowed because of a forward pass on review. You'd have to say that was forward, but man, a different game, different camera angle. Could have not gone that way, and they could have absolutely been celebrating a try there. So Fiji only coming away with 3 points that opening half. England only coming away with 8, and considering how many times they were getting into that Fiji 22 and not coming away with points, really, really disappointing for them. And one of the more telling, areas of that game was the fact that Fiji had a yellow card right before the end of that first half. It went from a driving maul being collapsed. I'm surprised they didn't look at more actually about whether it should have been a penalty try, because it certainly looked like that maul was going forwards when the yellow card got awarded, but the referee didn't want to investigate that. Now, during that yellow card, Fiji conceded 0 points, but they did actually score 7, and that'll be a real big blow to England. 40 minutes to about 55 minutes felt like it was all Fiji. They were just going through some different areas, going through those big carries. One of the stats that sort of came out of this game talking about that carry meters after the contact, making 5 meters after each tackle on average. What on earth is that? I can't even believe that's a real stat that you can achieve. 5 meters after contact is so far, and you have to see that so many of those players were making that distance. I thought maybe that stat would be wrong. I thought maybe Sage have thrown that one in there. But yeah, they genuinely, after each contact, just driving through the legs, more players getting behind them, carrying them forwards, and not just the mega forward units, the backs as well. Naya Kalevu, Semi Radradra, absolutely smashing their way up and making those huge carries. And those carries really began to tire England out, opened up the gaps in the defence, scoring themselves 2 tries, along with a bunch of penalties also going their way. Again, the England issues that have plagued them through this World Cup warm-ups. Discipline, giving away penalties, and the handling errors certainly came back into this one. Fiji At 55 minutes, we're 20 points to 8 up. The handling errors came from both sides, to be fair. The rain really caused a bit of a nuisance in that first half. Handling errors for both sides were going all over the place. Luckily, it did dry out in that second half a little bit, so we did get to see a little bit more of open gameplay and people not dropping the ball quite as much. England made some changes, and the changes were absolutely necessary. Marcus Smith coming on. They went for the Marcus Smith and George Ford on at the same time. They didn't do 10-12 like I said in the preview video. They went for 10 and 15. George Ford dropping back to the fullback position. Certainly made an impact when Marcus Smith came on, which is what you want to see from your bench coming on. Marcus Smith getting his try in this one. I think maybe, again, you'd argue a little bit lucky. They did have a look to see if he was in front of the kicker. They gave that one as parallel. Personally, I don't think there was an awful lot of difference between how far the ball travelled forwards in the Naya Kalevu try in the first half versus how far Marcus Smith was ahead of George Ford. But that's what I mean when you say in a different game, a different camera angle helping you out. I feel like they could be a bit more 50-50, but still did very well to get through and collect that kick and run through a couple of tackles to score his try. Marchant managing to draw the score a bit more level just in that 68th minute, 10 minutes left on the board. Fiji again defending so well in that driving maul on their own 5-metre line. Unfortunately bunched up a little bit too much. England went out wide, passing it out further, got it out to Joe Marchant to run that one in the far corner. It was helped out a lot by George Ford having a superb kick right from the touchline as well to get that one over for the 2 points. Drawing it back to England 22, Fiji 23. You thought maybe this is going to be a real nail-biter all the way up until from that restart kickoff, Danny Kerr came on, dropping the ball on the restart. I mean, that'll live in his nightmares for a good length of time. Not what you see, especially from a scrum half. Handling's meant to be like your deal, but again, that ball's so slippery out there today. And Fiji making the most of it. Went for a scrum. Don't think their attack from the scrum was the best. They definitely held it in the scrum a little bit too long. They let the ball sort of drift out wide. They went for a bit of a wrong pass. They didn't make the most of what that attack could have been from the scrum. Didn't end up mattering. They just recycled themselves, went through the phases again. A much more professional game from them. Not just doing the one-off carries, but organising their attack, putting the players where they wanted to. And those carry meters after the collision, again, being one of the big deciding factors in this one, managing to get through and going over for their try once again, taking Fiji out to that 30 points to 22 lead, where we ended up with the final scoreboard. And you have to say, performances going into this game, it was Courtney Lawes' 100th cap. England in Twickenham, not selling out the stadium. The full top band of the stadium completely unsold. The middle band looked a bit 50-50. There's obviously not a great deal of confidence in this England team, in a game they probably needed to win and needed to land a solid performance. Didn't come for them. Fiji, on the other hand, mightily impressive. I'm extremely excited to see how they do in the World Cup. I'm wearing, just by coincidence, a bit of more of a tropical shirt today, and it seems to have fit very well for this video. But man, as a Wales supporter, I am extremely worried for this World Cup, because I think Fiji could genuinely be looking to be real contenders, not just to get out of the pool, but seeing as this England-Fiji could be the game we see in that quarterfinals. Where will Fiji end up? Superb from them, and absolutely deserved that one today. Again, Naya Kalevu coming back in for the captaincy for this one. Thought he had a superb performance in this one, and just caused all sorts of nuisance for England all day, as did the right winger, Rava Tawamada. I'm hopefully getting that pronunciation correct again. Fiji's not always my strong suit for talking about some of the players and stuff, but man, so many solid performances in from Fiji. They should be extremely happy with this one, and man, I cannot wait to see how they build up towards that World Cup. Hope you've enjoyed this one today, guys. I'm going to rush off very quickly now and go watch yet another game of rugby. What an awesome way to start off our Saturday's worth of rugby. Make sure you drop down in the comment section your thoughts on this game, because there'll be a lot to talk about from this one. And man, what do England have to do now to improve as we get towards that World Cup? I'll see you all next time, guys. Bye bye.